Hi.
All right. We are live.
We're live.
We are a man down currently. So Tom was with us just before we came live, and now Tom is not with us
He's
because he
not
was
dead, people. He's not dead. Don't
Yeah. Okay.
worry.
Yes. Tom is still among the living, but he is not with us on this live stream yet. So he was having internet issues. We expect him back very soon. So if all goes well. And my audio good. I was messing with it earlier, so
You
I'm
sound
about the
fantastic.
same volume as everybody else. All right. So we'll just do this really quick. Alia, your channel. We'll do this at the beginning and we'll do it at the end.
Oh, okay. Hey, my name's Alia. I have a channel on YouTube. I like to talk about my period. No, I like to talk about carnivore and the low carb lifestyle. So yeah, that's what I talk about on my channel. I'm going to do a video soon about how to handle Halloween with 2 small kids.
Now my video will be demonetized and you're going to lose 1,000 subs, Alia.
Why? Because I said the word period?
Yeah, no. Yes. And Tom is back.
Yay!
All right.
Yeah, something has gone wrong with my laptop in the middle of this, so I'm on my phone now. So
yeah, so okay.
Better.
All
it
right.
looks better actually, Tom.
So I'm glad that you're back, Tom. And we were just going to go around, just do introductions really quickly here at the beginning and maybe at the end. So Carrie has a hard stop about 9:30, so we're going to wrap this up right at an hour today, if at all possible. So Carrie, you also have a channel. Just go ahead.
I do. It's at My Metamorphosis, and it's spelled with an O. So in other words, it's MEATO Morphosis. So I know it's kind of long, but it's worth the effort.
Yeah, and it is displayed below Carrie's name there as well. And my name is Chuck. We're streaming on all 4 channels. So if you're not familiar with the others, go check them out. My name's Chuck. My channel is Breaking Thin. And Tom, you also have a channel?
Yeah, I'm Tom. I have 2 channels, Frugal Preppers Extras and Frugal Preppers Garage and Garden. I do car repair videos and all kinds of videos just about my life in general.
And talk about carnivore as well?
Yeah, I talk about carnivore quite a bit. I've lost around 200 pounds now on carnivore.
Woo!
That's awesome.
Oh, you know what? I was thinking when I was going to start when I was thinking about all of us being together, we're going to jump in. I'm going to let you talk for a little bit, Tom, in a minute and kind of share your story. But before we do, Tom, you're down 200 pounds. Alia?
I'm down about 30. It jumps up and down a couple pounds here and there. So I'm going to stick with 30. I'm down 30 pounds.
Now, you're only down 30 from your heaviest, though?
No, for my heaviest, let's do some mathematics here.
Yeah, because I thought I've seen some of your before
down like
pictures.
45 or 50 pounds from my heaviest.
Okay, 45 or 50 pounds.
Yeah, I'm guessing. That's like, I'm going to say 45 is up. So let's say 40 pounds for my heaviest, maybe 45. I know I'm 5'3", so when I put pounds on, I just kind of balloon out.
Okay, so about 45
or
50. Do 50, the math will be easier.
Yeah.
Carrie, I'm not familiar at all with your story, Carrie. So did you come to carnivore to lose weight or for health or for both? And if so, how much weight have you lost?
Go to the spa.
I actually started low carb back in 2015, and then I evolved gradually into like what you would call ketovore, maybe, with mainly meat and then just a little bit of veg periodically. And a neighbor had given me some boxes of meat. He worked for a food supply company, and so he brought me all these boxes of meat. And so last December, I just started eating this meat because I had it and there was lots of it and I didn't want to waste it. And so then I stumbled upon some carnivore videos on YouTube, and I was like, wow, I'm carnivore, and I felt really good. So I initially went into the lifestyle to avoid diabetes because my mother's health was so poor once she was diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. And she basically took insulin shots to compensate for what she ate. In other words, she ate anything she wanted. She thought as long as she bolused, I guess, for her food, that it was fine. And so I did not want to end up like her. I mean, she got to the point to where, she couldn't go to shows anymore. She loved to go to concerts too. It's just hers was country and mine is metal and rock. But so that's basically my story. So I did lose weight, but I didn't intend to. So I'm 5'9" and I'm at 110 pounds, which is what I weighed when I was a teenager.
Wow.
Okay.
So I'm actually trying to bulk up. I'm trying to exercise, like do body weight exercises, and I've got some dumbbells and some weights that I'm using. And so I'm trying to do what I can to sort of gain some shape. And I don't think I'm being very successful so far, but I'm working on it. I'm an N equals 1.
Yeah.
I meant to ask you what that means because I'm so confused what that means.
N equals 1?
Yeah.
The N is for a number and it's 1, right? So it's basically you're the variable. You're the variable, right?
Oh,
You're the only one in the experiment, right?
Oh, okay.
So the value is 1 in the experiment, right? So N
Thanks.
equals 1. So and I'm down 120. So
Awesome.
and you lost at least some, Carrie, even though you didn't want to. So that's
between Carrie and I, we lost 50 pounds.
Yes,
170 and 200 by Tom. So closing in on 400 pounds.
That's
between the 4 of us.
Crazy. So. That's crazy. I also put a comment in the chat that I've gone from my heaviest. I think the pair of pants I bought was a size 22, and I'm down to a size 12.
Oh yes. So 10 pant sizes.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like 2, 4, 6, 8. It's like 5 pant sizes. It goes by 2s in women's pants.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It
10 pant size.
It goes by 2s in men's pants as well. But,
okay.
So I guess I should have done that math better.
It's okay.
All right, 45 pounds, carnivorous dude. Yeah,
so
that's
we want
awesome.
to hear why Tom's still alive. Actually, that's why we're here, right?
Yes. So, Tom, let's see if we can make Tom big.
Hey, you did it.
So I guess just a brief history of my carnivore diet and experience. I started keto and then went to mostly carnivore. So the majority of that weight loss was on keto, a good 150, 160 pounds, and the rest of it was on carnivore. And I'm not 100% carnivore. I'm 90% carnivore. I still have some pickles and some onions and stuff once in a while, but mostly I'm all eating meat. But Thursday, I've always had problems with my blood pressure, but it had gotten better. But Thursday, it hit 260 over something, and I had a stroke. And I was at work about 10:30, and they just told me to walk in and get a flash drive so we could do a backup on the machine. And I started to walk, and I got dizzy. I started throwing up. I couldn't stand. I couldn't walk. It was just really confusing, disorienting. I was seeing double. And they called the ambulance and got me to the hospital. Gave me a CAT scan and determined it wasn't the bleeding kind of stroke, it was the clot kind of stroke. And so they gave me the clot buster medication, which something like 6.5% of people who receive that medication die from it. So it's a pretty serious thing, but I was in the very beginning stages of the stroke at that point. It was going to get much worse. So
Wow.
They gave me the clot buster medication, and it didn't reverse things right away, but they stopped getting worse soon. And I spent the next 24 hours. They keep you in bed. You're not allowed to get out of bed for any reason. You fall down, you'll bleed to death. and I was in the hospital for several days. I was still really nauseous and on all kinds of IV medications. And the other thing they had to do is they had to get my blood pressure down to below 180 before they could give me the medication. So they gave me some really strong blood pressure medication that really just made me all lightheaded. Then they did the MRI a couple of days later, and they discovered that I actually had 4 to 5 strokes. But the previous strokes just weren't bad enough or in a sensitive enough place that I noticed them. But the last stroke was. I'm still having trouble. Still get a little dizzy. Trouble getting balance. I've kind of stopped using the walker very much now. I can mostly get around. My jaw's kind of weak. Weak. But all the doctors I've seen and therapists I've seen so far say I'm going to make 100% recovery, most likely with some therapy. So I'm really thankful that it wasn't a whole lot worse than it was, but it still sucks,
Yeah. So did they keep you on blood pressure medication?
Yes, I'm on some strong blood pressure medications. I'm on 3 of them right now. My goal is to keep my blood pressure below 160 for right now. And the other thing is that I was diabetic before. After I lost 200 pounds, not diabetic. My A1C is now in the 10s, even though I'm on carnivore. And I don't seem to be having any symptoms from it. So they're thinking that maybe I am getting the point where I'm becoming a type 1 diabetic and not making enough. So I am back on some diabetes medication as well.
So did you say your A1C was 10?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty high.
Yeah. Before, my highest A1C ever was 17, and then I was in the 14s. And then I, lost the weight and started eating carnivore, and my A1Cs were normal. But for some reason, my A1Cs are now 10s. So, yeah.
Now, that was tested though when you were in this last time?
Yeah, when I was in the hospital with this stroke, they ran the blood work. My cholesterol came back perfectly healthy and normal, though. So, yeah.
And are they doing anything else, Tom? Any like you on blood thinners or any other medication or anything?
I'm not on any blood thinners. I'm on the nicotine patch because I had to quit smoking and I haven't had a cigarette since. I'm on like coenzyme Q10 or something, and I think that's about it for right now. But we're gonna just see where we end up at, Yeah.
Right.
Every time I go to the doctor, they want to change something, and I'm just kind of like, let's not change it yet. Let's wait. Just wait a little while and see. Let's not add 13 diabetes medications. Let's add 1 and let's see.
Yeah. Yeah. So carnivorous dude. Unless I keep hitting the wrong one. Sorry. Unless you have pancreas failure later in life, you can't have pancreas issues and actually develop type 1 diabetes if your pancreas doesn't make enough. Here's a question. Let me get that one up here. Did they have you on steroids because they make your sugar skyrocket? Oh,
we lost him. Oh, wait.
Tom is moving his phone around.
I'm trying to plug in a charger here. Okay, there we go. No, I was not on any steroids, and I'm not on any steroids.
Okay. Yeah. Nicole actually says also inflammation, stress associated with high sugar. Yeah, that I was going to mention that, Nicole. I'm glad that you did. Probably when you're in for that kind of thing in the hospital, not the ideal time to have your blood sugar tested. But still 10 is really high, like as opposed to even if it had gone up in the sixes or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, 10 is pretty high. So one of the things that I am sure that you have already heard maybe a dozen times from people, or 100, depending. How long ago was this, Tom, exactly?
It happened last Thursday at 10:30 is when I had my stroke.
Okay, so a week ago.
Yeah.
And how many comments have you gotten about the fact that it's what you eat?
Actually, remarkably few, but I've gotten 4 or 5, comments like, "Oh, I thought the carnivore diet was supposed to be healthy." It's not the carnivore diet. In fact, I think the fact that I'm on a good carnivore diet has helped me to recover and get through this even better. It's the fact that it's the 45 years of not eating a carnivore diet. It's the 45 years of weighing 200 pounds more than I do now. It's the 45 years of smoking that have finally caught up with me. So,
So have you just recently quit smoking?
I quit smoking. The last cigarette I had was right before I had the stroke. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's I did smoke when I was younger, but not for many, many years. But that is that's pretty hard on the body as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Salty Texas Ranger, I don't want to get my channel banned if we ask those questions. Just so you know. So I'll ask the question, but we'll just ask the question like if I was the attorney and you were answering, Tom, so you don't have to give commentary.
Okay.
When was your last COVID booster? Or did you ever have one?
I never had the COVID booster or shot or vaccine.
Okay, there you go.
Gonna lose.
Salty Texas. That was. I got your question in without violating YouTube's medical disinformation. Who knows? Whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad, but and again, we won't have commentary on this, but it's a sad statement in many ways that you can't just say what you think about things. So anyway, no matter what you think, it's perfectly fine with me. Yes, hello, John. Oh, I wish I could. You know what? These comments, Alia, are just flying. And I'm clicking on the wrong ones.
I can't help you. I'm not.
Do you still hear? You have clicking on my end, Alia?
I don't know. I heard some clicking, but I don't know who's in.
Hopefully, it's not me. The comments are flying in.
They're flying in.
Yeah. So, here. One of the things, and yeah, you quit smoking, and yeah, doesn't that mean you should continue? Yep. Sawa prefaced that, so we know you were kidding. Anyway, I asked earlier about that, Tom, because I know a lot of people immediately, if you have some kind of issue after you've been doing, pretty strict keto or carnivore, I've heard many instances where people immediately say, well, yeah, well, it's because you're just eating fatty red meat all the time.
Yeah.
But without any thought to the fact that, yeah, but I was, spent 4 or 5 decades stuffing my face with Twinkies and Ho-Hos, right? And endless amounts of just processed crap, which has, put me in this place that I am. And, what I've been eating in the last several years isn't so tragic, or the cause of the issue, right? So now, Alia, Carrie, do you guys? I mean, obviously, you've not had health issues like Tom has, but and I have not either. But I'm sure you still get comments about how bad this is for your health.
Oh yeah.
I
get told.
Carrie.
I get told that, and it's coming from a loving place, and I know that. I've known this person a long time, and they've been very good to me, and that, you know, but I was warned, and this person also has a medical background, and I've been warned that I'm not getting all my nutrients by not eating vegetables. And, you know, things like, nobody's really said anything about the cholesterol, which is weird. I mean, even this medical person didn't. So
Yeah.
I think in some ways the cholesterol thing is kind of going to the wayside, but now it's all the nutrients that you're missing out by limiting yourself so much. That's what I've gotten.
But that's actually just patently false, right?
Yes.
I mean, you absolutely, in fact, what people usually want to say is like, you go on a vegan diet, you absolutely cannot get all the nutrients you need if you only eat plants. It's just a fact. You cannot get vitamin B from plants, no plant. And the only way that plant eaters get vitamin B12, you can get other vitamin B. Sorry, I should be specific. Vitamin B12, right? The way gorillas get vitamin B12 because they only eat plants is by eating their poop. Right?
Yes, that's true.
That's a fact.
Yucky.
And also, that's the way they believe rabbits get their vitamin B12. Because if you were a low-end fermenter, which monogastric animals are normally, you don't get vitamin B produced in a place high enough in your intestinal tract to actually absorb any. And so you either get it from eating meat or other things like that, or you eat poop. I mean, so I'll take meat.
Me too.
I'll go with meat.
Well, I haven't tried poop yet. I'm gonna have to try.
Well, I mean, you know, I wouldn't recommend it. But the other end though, if you only eat carnivore, if you eat meat, dairy, and eggs, there are no nutrients that you're deficient. Now, you could be nutrient deficient if you're not eating a variety of stuff that gives you what you need, but you absolutely can get all the nutrients you need from being on a carnivore diet. So, and absolutely on a ketovore diet, so or a keto diet, because then you'll have some plants in there. But yeah, that's just the way that it is.
It is. I have not gotten any, other than a few comments, like negative feedback that how I'm eating is not good. But you got to realize that I live in Colombia. I have a few neighbors that I talk to about it because they see me losing weight. And they say like how great I look. And then they're just like amazed at what I'm doing. And then they're like, what about cholesterol? What about this? But not in a negative way. They're just curious. So, but I'm going home in a couple weeks. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the comments. Like, how? I want to say something even with this thing in front of my face so people can still hear me. So I can't be very specific, but because if I've told you this story before, you know probably who I'm talking about. But a person in my life very near and dear to me, and please don't say if you know who I'm talking about, was vegan for many years, and then I started carnivore, and she became vegetarian, and now she's eating eggs and fish. So, but a lot of bad things happened to her body during the time of being vegan, or it just showed up because she ate terribly her whole life. Do you get what I'm saying? Like Tom brought up, like, it's because of carnivore. No, it's how he was eating for 45 years. Can I blame completely the bad things that occurred during that time to just eating vegan? No, probably it was all the bad food for the prior 50 years, you know, but I'm just very happy that I feel like I've set a good example with enough communication about what I'm doing and how I'm doing, that at least opened the door. Now eggs and fish are back in the diet. And I think that's the gateway to cow. The gateway food to cow. I don't know, but I'll be seeing that person soon. But I'm just very happy because the feedback was that I feel like my body's gaining strength again. So there you go. And this is from a person that wants everybody and every living creature to have life. You know what I mean? And so I understand. You understand, like, she did it out of wanting to help other living creatures. But I'm glad. So, anyways, I'm just happy about that. And my husband brought up a really good point. He thinks the most cared for animal on the planet is actually the cow. Like, how many animals do we not consume that are endangered species or on the endangered species list? Yet cows, which there's lots of problems with having cow farts and stuff like that, right? But cows are probably like the most abundant animal on the planet because it's our food source for so many people, and we need to keep it that way. But I just thought that was funny. I'm like, he's like, we need to continue to take care of cows, but why don't we do the same effort for the animals that are on the endangered species list that we don't eat? Like, that's how we can care for our planet. Anyways, my husband's very smart. He won't say that he's carnivore because he'll eat whatever he wants, but he eats a lot of meat.
Well, one of the things, it is a, I mean, there's a few things. I guess I don't really want to go down this road too far.
Sure.
But yeah, one of the things, misconceptions about, the animals that we raise to eat.
Yeah.
One of them is that, I mean, obviously in the end, you're killing the animal and you're eating it, right? So, that part is absolutely true. That's part of the process. But people who normally raise these animals, they actually, I mean, they sacrifice quite a lot to actually care for them. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't raise a bunch of animals, but we've raised meat goats for a good number of years. And, there would be times when you're just out in a driving rain, and it's 42 degrees and you're wet through and through because you're going out and picking up a kid that's sick and bringing it back and building a little shelter, all in that, right? So that you can, or a few years ago, it was super cold here in Missouri, which is unusual. They have a string of days where the high doesn't get much past zero. And we had does kidding. And so, we're going out. I'm getting up at 2:00 in the morning and going out, making sure one's not out somewhere outside the shelter. And even the ones that were in the shelter still had frostbite on their ears. And we put up heat lamps and tried to insulate it and stuff. But, it's not like it's, I think sometimes the thought is that, these people, they just don't care anything at all about these animals and they're just cruel, and really it couldn't be further from the truth, right? People that raise cows or raise goats or pigs or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, now part of that is financial, obviously. I mean, you don't want to have a bunch of your cows die because it costs a lot of money. But part of it is if you don't love doing that, you're just not going to do it, right? Because there's no money in it. Right. Not for the people raising them. There's not a significant amount of money in that. So they really do it because they love to do it. Anyway.
Right. Well, thank you. That's good to know also.
Yeah. Hello, Chad. Yeah, if you, Dr. Chafee interviewed a rancher who's been a carnivore for 60 years. She's 72. And she still works an active cattle ranch, and you'd never guess she was a day over 55.
She's 82.
Sorry. She's 82. Yes, you're right.
Crazy.
She's 82. So, and she talks about what it's like to do what she does and the way that she feels about that. So, great video if you've not seen it. You can go check it out. I can't remember her name, unfortunately.
It's Maggie. Maggie White.
Maggie. Yeah. Dr. Chafee. He's spoken with her a couple times, in fact.
Carrie from Homestead How and Adam. Don't let her know that I forgot his name.
I won't tell.
Adam and Carrie were there filming her this week.
Yeah, and she does. Yeah, and Nicole, she does look amazing because her hair is still blonde.
Yeah.
And you would never guess. So.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and acts like she's 62. I'm 59 and I act like I'm 12. That's what my wife says.
That's great.
Well, I don't know about the acting like 12 part, but no. So Tom, have you had? I'll ask you one more question, then the ladies will maybe ask you some questions as well if I have any for you specifically. So, did the doctor say anything about your diet? Did they know what you were eating? Did they say anything about it?
I told them that I was keto and now mostly carnivore. They didn't seem to care. but they wanted to put me on a statin, and I said, no, I'm not taking a statin. They said, well, you could have another stroke if you don't take a statin. I have a family member that's very sick from taking statins that won't take them. And I'm like, my cholesterol's fine, because I did take my cholesterol recently. And then they took my cholesterol. They came back the next day and I said, oh, did you get my blood work and my cholesterol back? And they said, yeah. And I said, what? And they said, you don't have to take a statin. So,
Oh, good.
I've always had good cholesterol, but my last numbers came back. My triglycerides are at like a 30 something. My HDL was 87, and my LDL was 116. So I'm sure they were probably close to that when I was in the hospital. Trying to get something to eat. The first couple of days I was so nauseous I didn't want to eat anything, but I managed to keep some grapes down. I tried to eat a piece of this angel food cake stuff they gave me, and I ended up throwing that up. But it was just really hard. And then I found out, like, you can order a cheeseburger. They won't give it to you with no bun, but you can take the bun off and throw it away and have a cheeseburger. So I started trying to eat a little better. I have not been 100% carnivore here since I've gotten back home, just because I'm having a hard time chewing things like steak. So I can do like hamburger, hot dogs, but I have done some sandwiches with some of that keto bread. I'm just trying to get back into the groove of everything, though, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it'd be really interesting as you, because I'm sure that you're going to probably document a lot of your progress. So it'd be really good to see what happened. It is interesting that your cholesterol comes back what they would consider perfectly normal, but they still wanted to. Did they not know your cholesterol was normal when they wanted to put you on a statin, or they thought the statin would?
They just thought the statin, statins help. They help you keep you from having a second stroke. And I remember I asked, I was like, really, what are the statistics on that? Like, how do you know it helps keep people from having a second stroke? And they didn't have any answers.
No,
Yeah.
There's not an answer for that.
Yeah.
They don't help you. I'm not sure they do anything in the area of stroke at all, right? I mean, they might lower your cholesterol, but yours is already lower than what they would call normal. So, it's just it's kind of like back in the day, like no matter what, if you were sick, they just give you castor oil. Like this has got to help.
Yeah.
This has got to help, right?
That's terrible.
Like you just got to have this. So, you're not feeling good? Have a statin. I don't get that. Carrie, Alia, either of you, do you have anything you want to ask Tom about?
I don't have a question, but I want to say, Tom, thank God you're alive. Thank Tom you're alive. Thanks for making it through. And you look amazing. You had a stroke a week ago, and you're sitting here talking to us, telling the tale.
I know.
That's amazing.
That's really awesome.
That's a sign of something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so a lot of people don't realize there's different kinds of strokes. I've learned a lot about strokes, but there's the kind where you bleed and there's the kind where you have clots. But then there's the kind where it's the frontal cord, the front part of the brain, and that's where you have your paralysis, speech, and that stuff. Mine was in the back of my brain by the brainstem, which primarily affects your vision and your balance. So it didn't affect my speech nearly as much. I have a little weakness in my jaw, but that's it. But my blindness and vision, like I was literally trying to watch TV in the hospital, and I see two TVs. I mean, like completely separate from each other.
Oh wow.
Band videos. If you're, I'm not sure if you were asking about something else in the comments, but if you were asking about statins, no, they're not blood thinners. They actually are designed to lower your cholesterol. So they don't do anything for thinning your blood, or they don't do much of anything, except they will lower your LDL cholesterol.
And they have terrible side effects.
Yes.
And
terrible.
when you're a diabetic, my mother was type 2 diabetic, and they always push statins. And, it's weird because my mother was so anti-medicine, like when she was younger. You know, she wouldn't even take an aspirin. And then I don't know, after she got older and then was diagnosed with diabetes, it's kind of like it shifted. But anyway, they had prescribed her a statin and she took it for a while. And I was talking to my dad and he was like, yeah, your mom is just getting really, she's getting to where she's forgetful and she can't even remember how to check her blood sugar and stuff like that. And I immediately, I said, is she taking cholesterol medicine? And he said, well, he says, I don't know. I'm not sure. And I said, well, tell me what she's taking. I said, go in there and get the bottles and tell me what she's taking. And sure enough, one of them was a generic statin. And I said, tell her to stop taking that right now. And sure enough, she stopped taking it and the memory and all of that part improved. And so that's a personal knowledge that I have. And there is a lot of anecdotal information out there on the internet and stuff, like Dr. Graveline. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he was actually an astronaut who had severe side effects from statins and ended up starting a website and starting a movement to basically put, or to get the word out, I guess, that statins are not good for you and that they cause serious health problems. And I can't remember if he passed away of Parkinson's. It was one of those. It was something like that. But the stories that people posted on his website, this was before social media really this was like maybe in the 2005 or 6, before the social media part really got out there. And so he actually just had a website, but you could still find his information out there. His name was Dwayne Graveline. And you can just read the stories. And I had read about that stuff because I had statins recommended to me. And it was not because I was diabetic, but it was just because my LDL cholesterol was like 20 points above what they wanted. This was before I even started low carb. And that's when I started doing research because I was like, I don't want to start taking a bunch of medicine, and that's when I started researching and found out just how bad statins really are. And so I've refused. And now my LDL is almost 300. I just had lab work done last month. And so, and every year, I mean, my LDL's always been high especially after going keto and ketovore, but it's skyrocketed on carnivore. And they always suggest every year that I take a statin and I politely decline. And then that's that until the next year. I mean, but I've been seeing the same doctor for years. And so I just always say no, and they don't nag me or anything.
Yeah, that's my wife's LDL is very high. But our doctor was the same way. He said, he said, I want to give you some Crestor. She said, no, thank you. He said, okay. And and I don't know that it's 300, but it's probably 264 or something like that. Yeah.
I do have a question for Tom.
Go ahead.
You were saying that they believe that your pancreas isn't making enough insulin. Did they give you either a C-peptide test or a fasting insulin test while you were?
No, they haven't yet. I'm sure we're going to get to that. Right now, it just, it's nothing but doctors and neurologists and just visits after visits after visits with doctors. And, we just got to give it a little time. But yeah, I'm going to get a C-peptide test.
Yeah.
And see if I'm still making the insulin or not. Or if it's just, I don't know,
Yeah. I was just curious whether they had tested that or, I know a lot of times there's just speculation, they'll speculate things and order more tests and stuff. But I was just curious as to whether they had tested you or not yet.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to put your question up here, Susan, or your comment, but I didn't want to cut off Carrie while she was asking her question. Yeah, I was going to say, actually, Lipitor specifically, one of the side effects in patients is memory loss. And when you stop taking Lipitor, that memory loss goes away. That's just a known side effect. You can just go and look it up. So it's not even just something that people think or say. or even a study. It's actually part of, I don't know the parent company for Lipitor, but anyway, yeah, if you have to take one, Crestor does not cross the blood-brain barrier, so I hear. So, but still, you know, I think if you can avoid it, it's best. And in older women, by the way, which my wife is older.
Oh,
She's
am
not
I?
gonna like that you said that. She's not gonna like that you said that.
Okay, but I wonder if I have a picture of her here. I know my wife looks great.
Beautiful.
She's 63. You know, and she's in great health. And having high cholesterol, particularly in women, if all the rest of your metabolic markers are good, is actually predictive of longer life, not shorter. It is actually protective, not detrimental, and probably in men as well. But there's been some studies specifically on women which show that life expectancy is longer in women with higher cholesterol.
Interesting.
Particularly if you have good metabolic health. So everything else is good and you're healthy. High cholesterol in women, studies show it's not an issue. And there are some studies in men also that show lower cholesterol in men actually have lower life expectancy. Your LDL gets below about 80, it's not good. So, you know, I mean, doctors put you on, you drive it down to 30 and stuff like that.
Yes. And I'm like,
that's
what?
Crazy.
That is not good. So,
yeah, I just got my blood work done a couple weeks ago, and I've talked to Dr. Avadia in a live stream and Dr. Hampton, and both of them say there's like a ratio of triglycerides versus HDL, and also Dr. Berg and Dr. Berry, I believe both say that. And my ratio is like under 1 of my LDL versus triglycerides. So apparently I'm going to live forever.
Yep. Mine's the same. Mine's right at 1.
Right at 1.
Yeah, you want your LDL up and your triglycerides down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh. Yes, she can.
Wait, is she talking about herself or is she talking about her mom?
She's talking about, well, her mom is my wife. Fairlight is my youngest.
Okay, that's not your wife.
Fairlight,
your daughter. Okay.
Yeah, Fairlight's my youngest, so she gets priority comment placement.
Nice.
That's good.
Well, you know,
as it should be.
I try to put her up there if I see her. That if you know people, you get to.
That's right.
Is that called nepotism?
Yes, it is. It's exactly what it's called.
Oh, okay.
So Carrie, this is the first time first time I've been on with Tom, and first time that I've been on with you. So give us just a little bit of your background, your story as well.
Okay, my mom was type 2 diabetic, and I watched her health decline. She was a vivacious person. She used to like to go to concerts and shows. I mean, her music was country, mine's metal and rock. But I mean, in that sense, we were very much alike. We loved music and loved going to shows and stuff like that. And it's like she was so non-medicine, like when I was a kid and like, in my 20s and stuff. But then after she was diagnosed with diabetes, it was like, I think she just fell for the line of, hey, if, just as long as you accommodate with insulin, plan what you're going to eat and accommodate that with the insulin, that you'll be fine. And so she just basically ate what she wanted and took insulin, and she gained weight, and her health just started declining. And in 2015, I was like, I know I don't want that for myself, because I watched that happen. Now, I didn't have high blood sugar at the time. I don't know what my insulin was. The first time I had it tested was just last month. But my blood sugar in terms of fasting was always below 100. So, but I knew that I knew carbohydrates and sugar caused your blood sugar to go up, because I had gestational diabetes. And so back when I had it, I was recommended to do away with all the white foods. Believe it or not, this was in the 80s, to do away with the white foods. And so I knew it had something to do with the carbohydrates and stuff. So I started researching, and at first I went low carb, and then I just slid into carnivore at the end of last year. So I've been on the Proper Human Diet spectrum since 2015. And I just did it mainly just because I know I did not want to end up like that. I want to play with my great grandkids in the yard.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's, I want to go to shows, and I want to just, be able to have a good life. And so that was the main reason. But here's a side effect that I want to really get out there to people. I always suffered from anxiety. I have since I was 20 to varying degrees. And it sort of happened suddenly. When I turned 20, I suddenly just I just had this massive panic attack. And then it was like, it was really terrible, but I didn't tell anybody, and I just suffered in silence. And I just had these periodic panic attacks and anxiety just periodically. And it wasn't always debilitating, but it was enough to be disruptive. And my anxiety completely went away after starting carnivore, completely went away. I would have never done something like this back, before. I wouldn't have been on YouTube. I wouldn't have put myself out there like that. And I just want to shout from the rooftops and tell people, no, it doesn't have to be like this. So,
Yeah,
I know that the weight loss and diabetes is kind of the main issue that a lot of people do the Proper Human Diet spectrum. But for me, what sealed the deal, I mean, granted, no, my blood sugar and all of that, my A1C has always been fantastic. But what sealed the deal for carnivore for me is no more anxiety. It's just like gone.
I think that is something that's pretty underappreciated. I mean, I've heard other people say this as well. Chad from Minimalist Carnivores talked about that, the difference is significant for him. And not that he had bad anxiety attacks or anything, but other people have talked about that as well. And I know that for me, I mean, I never had anxiety attacks or anything like that, but my outlook on life today is just radically different than it was when I started. I started about 4.5, almost 5 years ago, I guess, doing keto, and then for a while was off for a while, and then I've been doing ketovore and carnivore mostly for quite some time now. But yes, it is. In fact, I don't think that we appreciate the impact that food has on us. We really just don't. We just eat stuff that's really not even food, that didn't exist 200 years ago, and we give it no thought, right? I mean, seed oil literally didn't exist until 1913, I think, and now it makes up about, I don't know, 40% of the fat intake in the U.S. or some crazy number like that, and it's not even real. I mean, literally, it is manufactured through an industrial process, and yet we just consume it and give no thought to it whatsoever. And we weren't designed for that. So, and not to mention all the other kind of processed stuff that we eat. And so, yeah, it has an incredible impact on the body, and everything we do in our body affects our mind. It affects how we feel, how we think, right? And it really does. And we know that because Tom, hopefully not too bad, but he'll be experiencing some things maybe for a few days with no nicotine or limited nicotine, right? You drink too much coffee, and and I can feel it. And I drink way too much, and Alia too, she said. I mean, I drink it at least a pot a day, and sometimes more.
We're like
right?
in the same club.
And today, because my wife was down seeing Fairlight actually, and the baby and Brett this evening, I probably drank more than a pot. And come about 6 o'clock, I can tell, right? I mean, you just feel it. It makes you more anxious, and that's just one little thing. Imagine that you combine that with just the endless amounts of crappy stuff that we put in our mouth. And so it absolutely has an impact on us, and some more than others, obviously, but it's still real. And so that is part of it that it's not talked about a lot. So it's good that you brought it up, Carrie.
I really think too that issues with health issues, they're treated as all like different things, and it's all really one thing. It's that we're just not eating what we're designed to eat, and it manifests itself in various ways, and eventually it just becomes fatal.
Right.
That's the body, the mind, all of it is, it's one thing, and the reason why there are all these health problems and everything, instead of treating all these separate issues, I think getting people eating natural foods. I mean, they may not have to go as far as being carnivore,
Right.
But at the very least, just fresh vegetables, good low carb vegetables, and fatty red meat. Oh, horrors! But but seriously, that would cure like a big chunk of the issues that are out there.
Right.
I mean, I realize there are some genetic conditions and some things out there, but
yeah, that's what I was going to say. It will at least minimize the risk that you have, right? I mean, that's if somebody just made a pill that said, "Hey, you can cut your risk in half. Take this," right? Well, people would line up and spend their hard-earned money. And I'm not saying that, doing carnivore cuts your risk of all ailments in half, but it is true that it does reduce a lot of things, because a lot of it is driven by metabolic disorder, right?
Right.
The whole elevated glucose constantly in your bloodstream, elevated insulin levels all the time, the inflammation that's caused, all of that is the beginning of many, many things. Not everything. And again, just like we all know, I'm with you, Carrie. I plan on 120, right? Is what I say. So, I don't, that's my goal, 120. And, maybe I won't make it past, 59, but I want to be as healthy as I can, as long as I'm here. If I get hit by a car, struck by lightning, whatever, I feel good. And I'm healthy, and that's how I want to be. But it's also doesn't mean that, it's no guarantee that I won't succumb to something, because, that's the way it is. It's part of it. But but I want to eliminate as much risk as possible.
Exactly.
By not putting bad stuff in my body, right? So Alia. No, anything else for Tom? We're closing. We're at 53 minutes.
Oh shoot, we have like 2 questions that I.
Okay, well, get them. Where are they?
Shoot, they're lost now. I lost them. Let me see. One was from Elizabeth on how much fat you should eat at 9:18 p.m. And
how much fat? How much fat you should eat
in one day? How much fat should one eat on a carnivore diet? Which fat is better? I kind of answered that. Like, you need to eat ruminant animals like cows, but you can eat bacon, eggs. That's what I eat. Majority of what I eat is like bacon, pork, and actually it's not bacon, pork belly, eggs, steak. That's basically what I eat most of the time. Yeah, I put some lime on my food. I do drink coffee. I drink water, take some electrolytes. And she had a question later about how much protein to eat in a day, and I say eat till you're full, right? And then stop eating when you're done, and don't eat chicken breast.
Yeah, I think many women find that they prefer a little more fat. So now, and also I've heard people say they give grams of protein, they give 1-to-1 ratio, they give 70-30. It depends on if you're counting grams of the product or the percentage of calories. So to make it super simple, I eat about 70-30, but here's why. Eggs are basically 70% fat, 30% protein. So is ribeye, right? Mm-hmm. My wife likes extra fat, probably 80-20, and she puts lots of extra butter. Even though she'll fry our meat in butter, she puts extra butter, right? So, here's what I tell people. I'd eat meat, fatty meat, buy 70-30 ground beef, buy
Yep.
steak that's fatty, eat
Yeah.
eggs, eat bacon. All of those things are about 70-30. You'll be getting plenty of fat. If you crave more, eat some butter on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And eat until you're full. And when you're hungry enough to eat another meal, eat again. And don't do this thing where it used to be just eat till you're satisfied. No, just eat until you're stuffed. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get hungry, eat again. But now, if you're not hungry enough to eat a meal, okay, you may not be hungry. But
yeah, exactly.
I think that I say this. Ali's probably heard me say it before. But yeah, there is no animal that is like concerned about calculating macronutrients. They're not going to the gym. They're not running laps, and they're not portion control. They just eat. And no animal in the wild is obese.
Right. In the wild.
In the wild. No animal's obese. In fact, even wild hogs, feral hogs, are not obese. But they eat as often as they want, as much as they want. And they can even eat corn in the wild some. But generally, we make animals obese because we feed them what they wouldn't eat normally. So,
That is so true.
So try to eat the best food you can eat.
Yeah, exactly. And there's another one from JJ Cooper at 919. He says, my wife and I went back and forth with keto. I am wanting to go full carnivore, but budget for it is hard. So I can't really answer that question because I live in Colombia and it's, I think, a lot different here. Like we bought like $70 worth of meat and it was like 20 pounds of like the chuck. We buy the whole chuck. I don't know if you know the cow. That's like the back part of the cow where you get the chuck steaks from. And we live off that for like 2 weeks. So, and we have eggs and we have pork belly, but I think my budget's very cheap. But you guys are in the US. How do you guys handle this? Because I think carnivore can be done by anybody, right? And on a budget.
Yeah. I think that, and I'll answer this quickly, and then Carrie and Tom, you can jump in as well. So I think that we spend less.
Me too.
Groceries.
I was going to say that.
So because one of the things that happens if you go pretty strict carnivore and you're just doing dairy, full fat dairy, meat, and eggs, I have a hard time eating more than once a day. First of all, now, we don't eat ribeye all the time on a rare occasion. But the other thing is, Dr. Berry says this: hot dogs and sardines, they're cheap. Now, I'm not. Hot dogs maybe aren't ideal, but the best meat you can buy is better than the other. But even if you're ketovore, I mean, if you've cut out processed foods, and I say I'm mostly carnivore on most days, but the truth is, we still on occasion will have onions or green peppers and eggs, whatever. But that's kind of a, we use that as like a garnish on our stuff sometimes. But we find that it's not more money for us generally once you cut out everything else, right? And we don't eat as often.
Right.
So,
and you don't go out, you're not eating out so much, I think.
That's true.
I mean, I still eat out. I do eat out.
Well, yeah, but if you're eating out, that's still you're eating out even if you're not on carnivores.
Oh,
So
yeah,
that part is but you might do it less, right?
No, we just go to a place where we can get steaks. It's
okay.
really easy to get nice steaks here for cheap out. So we're not going to I'm not going to like a sandwich shop anymore, and I'm not getting burgers. I told my husband was so happy when I told him I've matured. I've graduated from burgers to steaks. Once in a while I get a burger, but it's like it costs the same amount as the steaks. Why not buy the steak?
So, Tom or Carrie, is your budget impacted negatively? I mean, you think it's cheaper or more or what?
I spend less. Now, I mean, it's not tons less, but my grocery bill is less. And I do have a disclaimer. I don't have family or anybody else living with me. I live by myself with a cat who probably I spend more on him than I do myself. I mean, I get really quality food for him so that he has a proper cat diet. But I do eat sardines, and I eat hot dogs, and I eat bologna, and I eat a lot of the 70-30 ground beef, and I'll treat myself to a ribeye on occasion now that I know how to cook them. I never cooked my own meat like that. So I know that sounds bad, but I didn't. And so now I've learned. And so, I've now incorporated ribeye, but that's been a very recent thing. So what about you, Tom?
I think the main thing is that you have to set a buy price, and you need a big freezer, and you just save your money back, and you buy the bare minimum when it's expensive. But my buy price is $3.99 a pound. And anything at $3.99 or below, I buy up. And I really like chuck roast, and so when they have chuck roast on sale for $3.99 or less a pound, I will clean out the store and load up an entire grocery cart and fill up my freezer. I'll spend $400 or $500 on meat, and that's enough to last me for a long time.
That's great.
But as far as like just buying it when they have it and it's $8 a pound, only if you really, really need it,
Right.
And
And
you spend less on other things like breads and pastas and mac and cheese and all this stuff. You're not buying all these other things. So your trips to the store usually take 10 minutes at tops.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in and out, and you don't go down any of those middle aisles.
You're not buying all those snacks either.
Yeah, it turns out.
The keto here, it's tricky with keto because they started making all these keto products that really aren't any better than what they're supposedly replacing, and so it's tricky. So people go like keto and think, oh, well, I'm keto, so. And they factor in spending money on the treats or the expensive nut flours and all that stuff. But really, when you're carnivore and you're not buying any of that stuff, whether it's keto or not, I've just found that, especially, just going carnivore, I spend a lot less money and my meals are more satiating. The food fills me up better. And the raw vegetables especially would just mess my stomach up, which is why I stopped eating them. I mean, I had basically the only vegetables I ate before I went carnivore was steamed cauliflower and steamed broccoli. I mean, that was it. And, with the cheese sauce on it, that was it. That was all I ate in terms of vegetables until I went carnivore. But it's amazing the difference. I don't know what it is about just eating just nothing but the fatty red meat. I don't know if I up my fat more and that did something to end my anxiety. I'm really not sure what happened there because I wasn't eating like junk for sure. So I don't know. It's bizarre.
Yeah, but Tom brings up a really good point now, and I guess I should remember that when I talk about our budget. My wife is extremely thrifty, and we've not bought a package of ground beef, like a little package of ground beef, for I don't know how long. So when ground beef is in 5 to 10 pound rolls on sale, my wife will buy somewhere between 10 and 20 pounds, bring it home. We cut it up in 1 pound Ziploc bags, freezer bags, freeze it. Yeah. So there's never a time when we don't have probably 20 or 30 pounds of ground beef. The same with steaks. There's a fairly large Mennonite community just north of us, which Mennonites would be kind of like Amish if you don't know what that is.
Okay.
But not exactly old order, new order Mennonites. Anyway, great people. There's a few stores, and so we often are able to buy. Now, again, we buy meat that's not always, prime meat. We do that on rare occasions, but we can get meat there that's normally then they're T-bones or ribeyes, but they're thinner sliced and they're normally from older cows. So it's not like, like what you'd want maybe every day. But again, we do it because we don't want to spend, all the money. And so, yeah, she shops strategically, I guess is the best way to say it.
Mm.
She's extremely thrifty, and so, but she would do that before as well. You know, even when we just ate whatever. But anyway, all right. There's one question here. I just want to get this. I started this. I learned how to start questions. Alia, you'd
Well
be proud.
done.
Yes, we need fat. We need lots of fat. Feral pigs are lean, so how are we supposed to get enough fat in the wild? Okay, so they may not be quite as lean as what you think, unless you've cut one up recently. Because we made sausage from a couple whole hog sausage from 2 wild hogs that I shot. There is a lot, even in a deer that my son-in-law just killed a couple weeks ago. We processed that last weekend, and deer are now they don't have near as much fat as a cow, obviously, which is why probably large ruminant animals are probably better. But there is a lot of fat actually on parts of the deer. You just don't see it, and so you take all that fat off and you put it in the meat that you're going to have, and so yeah, the meat itself, it's not marbled, absolutely. But if cows that are actually finished, not just finished but raised on grass, totally grass fed from birth to butcher, they're not particularly marbled either. You don't get a 2-inch layer of fat from a cow that's lived on grass their whole life. So they're a much leaner cut of meat than the other. So, okay, now I've lost. Oh, I'm back. No, I'd lost the other comments, but it's okay. It's all new. Not all new, but it's pretty new.
It's all good though.
It's all good. We're at an hour 6 minutes, Carrie. Do you need to? If you need to go, that's perfectly fine. We're going to wrap up anyway, since it's 9:30
I do
here.
need to go. I'm just
Okay.
going to share with the world. I mean, I've got the virus that shall not be named.
Oh,
I just got diagnosed with it this afternoon, and
Sorry.
I am like fading fast, man. So I wanted to, the show must go on, but man, I am fading so bad. And I don't know if you can tell, but my face is like sheening. I've got like just sweat. I'm just like, yeah, I'm about to fall over.
Time to go to sleep.
Well,
Time to take some NyQuil. That's not carnivore, but like right now, I don't care. Of course.
yeah, I listen. I really appreciate you pressing on, and actually, you've not. That's probably the first time I've heard you cough all evening. So, I really appreciate you still pressing through and coming on. No one would have never ever known that. You're welcome. I'm not. I don't want to say Sawa. Maybe Sawa. You're welcome. Anyway, I appreciate it. Joining us, pressing through. No one would have ever known if you hadn't mentioned it at the end. And that's great.
Normally, I would go forever. I would be like, I would let the stream just go on for 2 or 3 hours. I mean, I wouldn't normally care. And, but I'm just like, yeah, I'm starting to really feel it. So,
yes.
And of course, you guys can, are totally free to continue on without me. But I'm glad that I was able to be here, and I have enjoyed it immensely. I've had a great time.
Well, it was really nice to meet you. Don't forget, go over to Carrie's channel and check it out. It's right there below her name. So if you don't have time to read that or spell it, just watch the replay and watch the whole thing, and don't skip commercials. Anyway,
super chats in the comments while we're still here.
Thank you. Thanks again, Carrie. I really appreciate it.
All right, you guys take care. I'm gonna bail, and it was nice meeting you, Tom, and great seeing you again, Alia, and great meeting you, Chuck. And hey, let's do it again. And we can do a 2 or 3 hour one for all I care.
I'm good for about an hour and a half, and then I get real bored.
All right. Well, y'all just. Well, I'll be hollering at you, and thank you, Fairlight. And you guys
All
take
right.
care. I love
Bye,
you
Carrie.
all.
Good night, Carrie.
Bye-bye.
Nah,
Let's see here. Let me readjust this.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yes. Anybody? Whoa, that's not what I was
you
looking
got a
for.
super sticker from your daughter?
Oh,
Because I said put some super chats.
do what?
Alia was saying and do a super chat, but Alexis did a super sticker.
Yay! Is that your daughter?
Alexis also is one of my daughters. Yes.
Okay.
Thank
cute,
you.
Very cute. It's so appreciated. We love the super chats.
I was looking for the dynamic. Let's see. Ah, there we go.
Okay, there we go. Oh, but now you can see where my chair hits the wall.
Oh,
You can see the train tracks on the wall. No, it's okay. Do what you want.
all right. Does anyone? We will wrap this up pretty quickly. So, does anybody have any questions for Tom, or for any of us? But specifically, we'll ask if anybody has questions for Tom. Tom, you are going to be. I think I said this earlier. You're going to be documenting. You're going to. Oh, and also, did you get a full blood workup?
I don't know how full it was. I know they did some blood work. I don't know. You know,
Okay.
they come up to you in the hospital and start talking to you, and you've had a stroke. You haven't slept for 2 days. They've woke you up every 20 minutes and had you pull on their hands and push on their hands and look and stick your tongue out and smile and shrug your shoulders. And, you know, and then you can't see. So you have no idea who's even there talking to you. It's really...
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Thank you, Meeting Wellness. I appreciate it very much. Yeah. So, it's just, I'm glad that you've not got a lot of pushback about what you're eating. I know that some people have, which, you know, the other thing that happens, I think, in kind of the carnivore or keto kind of space, sometimes, you know, people think we're immune to everything, right? Because which isn't the case, obviously. We still all have a certain number of bad genes. We all still have, you know, I did lots of stuff when I was younger that was not healthy, right? It was bad. We don't want to do a live stream about that. Believe me. Maybe I will one day, but not tonight. But you know, you do all of that kind of stuff, and you know, again, I'm 59, but you know, wasn't that long ago. I would weigh, you know, well over 250, maybe almost 275 at one point, and you know, I ate like crap for decades, and so, you know, did that do damage? Well, absolutely, and probably lots of other stuff I did in my past, earlier years, did damage too. It is what it is. Now we just have to do the best that we can. So,
yeah.
hopefully you will get you'll have a speedy recovery. And now are you still trying to lose weight, Tom, right now?
I haven't really worried about the weight, but I am still losing weight a little at a time. But I haven't weighed in like a month and a half, 2 months. So last time I weighed, I had just broken the 200-pound mark.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't really care about losing the weight. I just want to be healthy, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, I tell people all the time, like, look, if I had this stroke 200 pounds ago when I was eating unhealthy and I was extremely diabetic, I'd be in much worse shape. Right. I might even be dead, you know.
Well, see, that's the part that we never know, right? But at least you didn't start. Like, you don't want to find out that you're sick and then start thinking, oh, well, now maybe I can do it. Like in the past, I always thought, man, it's bad. Like if you have a heart, I should get in shape and get healthy because I have a heart. You know, I don't want to have a heart attack. Yeah. But once you have the heart attack, it's, you know, that's kind of, you know, it's better to start there than never. But it's not ideal. Well, it's so like, at least you started before, and you've minimized the risk.
I always kept smoking. Smoking was really hard. I mean, I quit before, but I always started again. And when I was laying there, unsure if I was going to live or not, you know, having the stroke, I was like, these cigarettes are totally stupid. And so I came home, and my son went over and got my car from work where it was left. And I went out to the car, and there's a hidden secret pack of cigarettes in the car. And I get them out and I look at them, and I'm like, it is totally not worth it. We're throwing these in the trash. And, you know, it's so when those things actually happen to you, you have a tendency to look at them in a whole different way, you know.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on quitting smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and again, you're right. If you this happened and you still weigh 200 pounds more than you did, it probably would not have been good, right?
Yeah.
Yes, which is a good thing. What's your go-to easy fix meal? Mine is whatever Joni will make. That's kind of sad, but I think that question has to be for you, Tom, or Alia, because Alexis already knows the answer. For me.
For breakfast, I just make bacon or sausage or both and some eggs. And I get my eggs from a lady that raises them in her backyard, so they're good, fresh, clean eggs.
Nice.
And for most other times, it's just a couple hamburger patties, maybe some cheese if I'm feeling like doing some cheese. But yeah.
Let's see. Eggs. So in my house we have tons of pork belly, but when I say that, we have it like grinded up 2 times by the butcher. It's really good. So it's like pork belly ground beef. So we make these like pork belly nuggets. So I do pork belly and eggs or steak. Those are my easy go-to meals.
Yeah, we have lots of eggs because we have hens.
Oh, nice. I wish I could have that.
So yeah, well, we have. I wish I could send you about 5. We probably have a few too many. Now.
I live in like a gated like condo apartment.
Well, then they can't get out.
Yeah, maybe if I had a first floor apartment where I'd have like a little space, maybe I could have them, but not on the 4th floor. Somebody a couple days ago, Adam, he was like, do you ever wake up to the sound of cows? Because he was on Maggie's ranch. And I'm like, yeah, they're right out back. Like, we live in this community, but there's cows right there. I love it.
So Alia, you just got your blood work, or you're doing it now?
I got my blood work in the beginning of September, and I will do it again in January.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I seen your video from September, so you're going to do it again.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah, I am going to do mine again as well.
I want to do it every 3 months because I just want.
Oh, every 3
I
months.
only am doing it because I'm doing carnivore, and I want to just keep everybody happy that I'm not that I'm not killing myself, or I want to also see that I'm improving my thyroid because I have a thyroid condition, and it looks like maybe by January it'll be all healed. I don't take thyroid meds, by the way. That's just my personal thing. I'm not telling you guys not to take them if you're on them. Not giving medical advice.
So I believe hard pressed quit carbs and do the same. He quit 3 packs a day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. I quit when I was pregnant, and I never went back. And I got fat from eating food instead.
Yes. So anything is probably lots of things: nicotine gum patches, non-tobacco nicotine pouches. Pick your poison, but although that's vastly better than smoking cigarettes. I'm not sure that vaping's all that great for you, but that's probably better than cigarettes as well if you can finally get off of it.
I think vaping is just like trading one addiction for another.
Well, yeah, but without the tar.
Oh, okay.
There's just a lot of bad stuff in the cigarettes themselves, but
sure. I think this question's for me, Ed Evans. I don't have a gallbladder issue. When I started carnivore,
but you do have a gallbladder.
But I do have a gallbladder. Yes, I've never had gallbladder issues, and I do have a gallbladder, and I will not remove body parts. But I've had a thyroid condition for 7 years, and only took meds a few occasions if it made me feel bad. Didn't realize that on carnivore I could heal my thyroid until I started looking at the blood work, and wow, this is crazy. My thyroid is healing for blood
Yeah,
work.
that's awesome too.
Yeah.
You'll
And
say that you won't remove body parts until you have severe pancreatitis that lands you in the ICU for a week.
Oh, I've been under the knife. I've had 2 terrible dental operations, and I've had 2 C-sections, and I never want to go under the knife again. I've had 2 babies removed out of me.
Yeah. I was, it sucks now. I wish they could have just gotten rid of the gallstones when they took out my gallbladder, but I was in pain like I didn't know existed. Like somebody sticking a hot sword in me and twisting it around. And
wow.
I was on Demerol and Dilaudid, and I was in the ICU for 2 weeks.
Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
wait, I have to say something. That's what endometriosis sounds like, a hot sword sticking inside of you for hours on end.
Yeah.
Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
So people don't go to vaping on my advice, Tom, clearly, because Fairlight and now Renee, it's like, don't go down that road. But
yeah, I'm just doing the nicotine patches here.
Yeah.
I got those.
Just one?
Well, 1 per day, and so the number 1s are for 2 weeks, and then I go the number 2s, and then the number 3s.
Yeah, there's a mini series about Sherlock Holmes where he says, "What are you doing?" He said, "Nicotine patch." He said, "You have 3." He said, "It's a 3-patch problem." It was Sherlock trying to work something out. Anyway, no one thinks that's okay. Let's see. Somebody else had put up a question I was going to put up here. This is for you, Alia.
Oh, I just answered in the chat. Yeah, I do need to pay health insurance, and I'll just leave the comment in the chat. But no, we don't pay. We pay very little for our health insurance to cover a whole family. I want to say that my copay when I had a C-section was $50 when my daughter was born here, and the care that I had here was better than what I had in the U.S. So yes, we do have health insurance, and it's very cheap.
I got a letter from my health insurance company today that they're not going to cover my stay in the ICU because they don't think it was medically necessary.
What? It's crazy.
I'm like, well, if they're not covering it, I'm not paying them. So
yeah, exactly.
That's what bankruptcy is for, I guess.
Yeah, so that I've had people ask me in comments on my channel, like when I went and got my blood work or my DEXA scan. So we do not have normal insurance. So I could get it where I work. I just object to paying more for insurance than my mortgage. So me and my wife have always been really fortunate. We've been very healthy throughout our entire life. Well, I mean, I was in crap health when I weighed 265 pounds, but I wasn't sick enough that I had to go to the doctor all the time or be on medication. So we actually have like a catastrophic kind of thing through a Christian health share ministry, right? Okay. So we pay pretty minimal amounts, but anytime if we go to the doctor, I get a DEXA scan, I get my blood work, all of that comes out of pocket. So we have nothing that covers those types of things. If we go to the doctor, we pay for that. We get a prescription, we pay for that. So, which is another reason why we want to be as healthy as possible.
Right.
So
I pay through my stuff also, like my blood work. I pay that out of pocket.
Yeah.
It's just easier.
So, but people have asked. So no, we do not. So now my daughters all do, and their husbands. 2 of them are in the military, not my daughters, but their husbands. And one is out, and he was also former military, and so he has insurance through that. And so they have insurance, normal kind of stuff. But
well, that's not good.
But it's all good. I mean, I could if I wanted. I'm just too cheap.
Do we have
way
any
it
more
goes.
questions?
Yeah. Any more questions? We're at an hour and 24 minutes. We're bringing this thing in for landing. Down to
Wow.
263. Oh, yeah. Now, how
I
much?
thought he said she started.
No, he's down from there. But so he's down to that. Where were you at,
Where were
Ed?
you start? Where'd you start?
Maybe he'll tell us.
Yeah. I hope so.
318.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's awesome. Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
that's great.
318.
That's awesome. Are you doing carnivore? Are you doing keto? Where are you doing? What are you doing? What's your successful actions here? I want to say that I was on a live stream with Dr. Tony Hampton from Chicago, which is awesome. I'm from Chicago. He says there's no ideal body weight, but there's ideal body health. And that made me feel really good because I happen to have a really big butt. So I look skinny because I've lost a lot of weight here, but the butt and hips just won't go where I want it to go. So he said two funny things. The funny thing was, he's like, well, it depends what neighborhood you're from, because big hips and big butts, people, depending on the neighborhood, like that. Two, no ideal body weight. So I've been trying to think I need to get down to like 120 because of my height. And that's what I heard, 5'3", it's 100 plus 5 pounds for each inch. And I'm like, I feel like at a loss about that. So I really like that he said that it's ideal body health is what we need to go for. So it's another reason why I keep getting my blood work done and seeing how these metabolic issues that I have are resolving. And maybe I will lose more weight. I hope so.
Yeah, I think, in fact, it's too bad that Carrie is gone. One of the things that she'd mentioned, a lot of times people will, like if my wife was to go just full blown beef, butter, bacon, and eggs,
Yeah.
she'd weigh 100 pounds.
Oh, wow.
She weighs probably right around 120 right now.
Yeah.
But she was down to 114. She doesn't want to get down much below that.
Sure.
And that's what I got down to 151, and I did not want to get below 150.
Oh, wow.
But the truth is, which I still have like 33 pounds of fat, right?
Okay.
I
For
mean,
your DEX scan?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have fat to lose, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think we do kind of find our place, and some people are going to find their place at more. Like Carrie's just really naturally thin, and so is my wife.
Right.
I have to be super careful with any carbs or kind of not get all kinds of crazy, or I'll be like a Macy Day Parade balloon. So that it's just we all have that place, and we're all a little different. So he's probably right. The biggest thing though is like there is a huge thing with visceral fat, which is really bad for you.
Yeah,
right?
I've gotten a lot of belly fat has gone away. If you look at me now versus there's still a little bit there that can go, but it's mainly hips and butt for me. That's still there, but that belly fat has gone down a lot, and I think, that's very important.
I guess you're saying, are you saying that Alia's skin and bones?
No, I think she's talking about you.
It's always good to get some encouragement when you're online. It's it's not as bad as the guy who said I can't take health advice from a guy who looks like he's got 1 foot in the grave. So.
Halloween's coming.
What?
It's Skeletal Chuck.
Yeah.
Chuck, you look great.
Yeah, thank you. He did not think I looked great, but it was okay. All right, we have any other questions? Yeah, and congratulations, Renee, on dropping 90 pounds. That's awesome.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I haven't lost any weight in 2 months. In fact, today I was up 2 pounds, but I've gone down since I haven't lost any weight a pant size. So who knows?
Which means
that I must have lost some weight.
You've lost fat but gained muscle.
Yeah.
Which is good. Which is what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
One last question, Tom, if because probably I should have warned you. Maybe you already knew about Alia. She just talks. No, I shouldn't. Me and Alia just love to talk, and then Tom, you have to
Just
weird.
endure.
My daughter is going to text me pretty soon and actually tell me about this. So I'm going to ask you another question, so you'll talk, and then I won't get in trouble. Did you have? So you dropped 200 pounds. Did you have other health issues in there as well that also resolved?
Yeah, so I had diabetic neuropathy, gout, arthritis in my feet, diabetic leg ulcers, swelling in my legs. I needed knee replacement. I needed shoulder surgery. All that's healed and gone away now.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So you had a whole list.
Yeah. I was definitely at the point where I was ready to die.
Okay.
Wow.
And were you on any meds before your stroke? You weren't taking anything, were you?
So I was taking one metformin a day and one lisinopril a day. And my blood pressures were running 170 to 190s. But I just kind of figured, something else is going to kill me first before I, because my blood pressure normally can go 300 for the systolic, even on 5 blood pressure medications. And so, and my sugar when I went through a whole bout of testing a couple months ago, my sugars were getting pretty normal. But so I hadn't checked them recently, but yeah, I now before I went carnivore and everything, I was on 300 plus units of insulin per day, slow and fast acting, and I still had A1Cs in the 14s.
So 300 units a day, and your A1C was still 14.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That is not good.
And that's
so all of that.
My highest weight ever was like 458 pounds.
458.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that?
That was probably about 5 years ago. So I went through keto, then dirty keto, then I fell off the keto wagon a few times in there. But I had lost about 130, 150 pounds, and then the rest of that was after I went carnivore. Starting in March or April.
Man, that is awesome. And do you mind telling us how old you are, Tom?
I'm 49.
Okay. Well, we're probably it is with the list of things that were wrong with you. I mean, it almost reminds me of Todd's story at the Carnivore Cure. Well, he literally was about to die any day.
Yeah.
And when you get to that kind of health, I mean, it's just one little thing, right?
Right.
You can literally get the flu and have pneumonia and end up, not ever coming home from the hospital when you're in that kind of condition, right? So, it's awesome that you've been able to do that.
Yeah.
And it's awesome you're here with us tonight.
Yeah. It's awesome that you're here with us tonight.
You don't have to show up, Tom, if it's I didn't want to put extra pressure on you. And you're here, and I love that.
Having a stroke is just the weirdest thing because I'm just perfectly normal 1 second, and then I'm dizzy and I'm throwing up and I'm having a stroke. It's like boom, just like that, And I was planning on going to Orlando. I was planning on leaving work early that day and heading to Orlando, Florida, and taking a little mini vacation over the weekend and going to a training class. And I didn't get to go to that, but they still charged me for the hotel, though.
Oops.
Yeah, well, that's kind of par for the course. Your health insurance doesn't want to pay for your health emergency, and the hotel will not allow you to cancel, even though you had a stroke.
I called them and they said something about like the doctor put the wrong thing in or something. I don't know. Like to call the doctor, and I'm like, you know what? The doctor could figure it out if he wants paid.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And they have I go to an in-network hospital, but they have out-of-network doctors that work there. So they're like, this doctor's out-of-network and this one's in-network. I'm like, you know what? When I'm going through a stroke, I don't have time to stop and ask the doctor now, are you in my network or not? I have no way
Yeah,
to know that.
it's not your job.
Yeah.
It's the patient.
All I know is I go to the hospital that says it's in network, and it's supposed to be in network. It's
Yeah. That's if you're making an appointment to just a regular checkup, or you're going to go get something special done. I understand all those kind of things. You show up in an ambulance. It's not like you're going to like, okay, hold on before I speak to you. Right?
yeah.
I need to know, are you in my network? Right? Do you know how to fill out my paperwork properly? Right?
Yeah.
Could I see it? And one of the kind of sad thing we don't ask is like, how many patients have you lost recently? Right? Like those things don't get asked either. But you just expect them to be, doing what they're supposed to be doing. So.
Yeah, and then the other thing is they have some lady come up with a cart with a computer on it and tell you they'll give you 20% off if you can prepay your bill. It's like, I'm in the middle of having a stroke.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but that's funny.
You got to prepay, not even pay before you leave, but because in case things don't go well, they need you to prepay.
Well, yeah, and so they'll give you 20% off if you can pay right then. If you have to pay later, they're paying the full price.
Queensland. Yeah, I thought maybe they weren't very good doctors, and so what they want you to pay in advance in case they can't save you.
Yeah, I have to say that the whole medical team and the doctors in the emergency room, they did a really good job, and they got the clotbuster on board really quick.
Yeah, and that's good. Yeah, we can joke about your doctors a little bit since you're here, able to be here with us. But yeah, it's like we have to have payment in advance because the current guy in the emergency room, he's not very good.
Yeah, he left. Yeah.
All right, Alia. Listen, if you've not been to Tom's page, before I go back to Alia, go check it out. We're gonna. Any other questions come now because we're bringing this thing in for landing. I will. It's not good once I get past an hour. I mean, I can stay and talk for a long time, but then I say stuff that people tell me I shouldn't say. Okay, so go check out Tom's page and Alia's page. Tom does not have his name underneath there, but you search for Frugal Prepper's Garage. You will find him.
Yeah, you can just search for Frugal Prepper, all one word. It'll show me. Yeah.
Yes, and there it is. Tom's got some good information, good videos, stories, lots of informative adventures.
Yes, I like Tom's channel also. I like the walks. I like your walks, Tom. I hope you're up to that soon. Your walks.
Yeah.
And I like your gun shorts.
Yeah. I'm probably going to get back into shooting guns again soon because I don't really have anything else to do, but I can stand at the range and shoot a gun.
So Alia, don't leave yet.
I'm not. I'm just saying.
Okay, good. I remember I was going to ask Tom. We'll make him talk again for 2 more minutes.
Okay.
So no more gout attacks. Do you have any flare-ups? Do you take anything currently?
As far as gout, no.
For gout.
No, and I never did take the.
Okay.
I don't know. It was some stuff that started with the P. The gout was just minor, and it was just starting.
Okay,
the arthritis has gone though. I went back to the foot doctor, and they took X-rays of my foot, and there's just a little bit left in one little toe. The rest of the arthritis is gone.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no, you cut out all the seed oils and grains and vegetables.
Yeah, so I also had macular degeneration. I was going blind, and that was pretty much from the seed oils. So.
And is that gotten better?
It's gotten a little bit better, but the biggest thing is it stopped.
It stopped. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes once the damage is done, but if you can stop it, right, then that's a win. Yeah. I had severe gout for over 35 years. I mean, debilitating gout, 3-week bouts on crutches, bedridden. Yeah. So I don't have that anymore. And I did take allopurinol for 10 or 11 years at one stretch. So
yeah.
Okay, Alia, if you've
Yes.
not been to Alia's channel, go check it out. And if you're at Alia's channel, make sure you check out mine.
Everybody else, these guys.
Mine and Tom. Alia's channel is there under her name. Well, that's
Yep.
actually your channel is just named Alia Wells, but you can find it by searching Alia
Yep.
Wells 955. If you type it in, make sure you pronounce it correctly.
And I look like this on my picture.
Yeah. Make sure you pronounce her name correctly. It is Alia.
Alia.
I can't even say it wrong now.
Alia.
I called you
It's fine, I
Alia
get it wrong.
like forever.
Okay.
It's very embarrassing.
No, it's
Anyway, go check it
That's
out.
the problem with
Alia.
the English language. All the variables on the way to say the vowels is confusing.
Yes, exactly. Yes, you know what? Our dog and cat, we began to feed, not strict carnivore, but no more dry dog food. And they actually have both improved. And they're both old. Our cat's really old. And it actually is it was never in tragic, bad health, I guess. Because, but life outside, as an outside cat, life is hard in the country. And it's probably every bit of 10 or maybe 11. So, which is pretty old for an outside cat, but he's doing pretty good. And our dog as well. So, all right, Alia, any final words?
Let's see. I am going to do a video, and I'll just give you a sneak peek right now. I'm going to do a video on how to handle Halloween when you've got small kids and you don't want them eating a bunch of junk. So there's two things you can do. Does anyone have kids here? Am I the only one with small children that should worry about this? But maybe
Well, I
your
have
daughter-
kids, but
Your kids have kids. It's
kids
really
have
easy.
kids.
They can still go trick-or-treating. I'm going to let them pick 3 pieces of candy when we're done. And last year we bought the candy from them. we gave them money. Like that was their work. How much candy can you get? We're going to pay you for it. And then I learned this year there's something called a switch witch where you leave the candy on the porch and then the switch witch comes and changes it out for a toy. Either way, your kids aren't going to eat a ton of candy because from Chicago, my grandfather lived in Winnetka, Illinois. I would come back with like all 4 of us, like what is it called? Pillowcases full of like really expensive candies. so bad. Like it filled up an entire suitcase. So that's my recommendations. If you have kids or grandkids, pay them. Why not pay them? And then they can go buy toys or whatever, or clothes or whatever they want, and they can still have fun trick-or-treating. Because I've heard some moms say, well, I'm just not gonna let my kids go trick-or-treating. Well, I think that's not a good idea either, to not let your kids partake in the fun when they see other kids outside having fun. You know what I mean? That's my recommendation. I'll do a separate video about it.
yeah. So Alexis is excited to see your video. Yeah,
I
think
think that
that I think that it is good to. I've heard Nisha talk about taking her kids to parties and stuff like that. And she never tells them, no, you can't have anything. And again, so I'm not recommending that you let your kid have a whole pillowcase full of candy, which is what we used to take when I was young too, pillowcases. But I'm not recommending this for anyone necessarily, but I do have, my rule is I am extremely strict, but on holidays there are no rules. Right?
Oh.
Now, I don't eat a bag of. I don't really count Halloween as a holiday, but you know what I mean. I don't eat like a crap load of bad stuff on those holidays either. But if I go the whole year and 2 or 3 times a year I have a piece of cheesecake or a big giant sugar cookie or a piece of pie, I don't. It's not the end of the world as long as it's not the end of your carnivore journey, right? And that's why in between those times I don't ever go off plan, because those are kind of the guardrails that keep me on track. But on those days I'm able to eat anything I want. I often don't, but I could. And so I think it's perfectly fine if your kids are healthy and young, you're going to let them have a piece of candy. It's just that, it's
I woke
not
one of them
great.
up.
Yes.
I woke her up.
Hello. Hi. So anyway, yeah, that's good though. You buy it from them.
Yeah, we like to buy it from them, so I like that. Just buy the candy from them. I mean, $5 and $7, $5, and then just throw the candy away. Don't feel like you need to eat it yourself. Just throw the candy away.
Yeah, this is a great question, Ed. Yes, so because we streamed this I'm running the stream from my channel, and so I'm the only one that has access to posting these questions here in Yardstream, but we've streamed it to all of our channels at the same time. So people that happen to be my channel, all 3 of them probably. Actually, if you're at my channel, I greatly appreciate you being there and watching this video. I really do. But yeah, so that's why if someone posts in my channel and you happen to be at Alia's or at Tom's, then yeah, you won't be able to see those comments. I would imagine we are still live streaming on Carrie's channel, even though she's no longer with us.
Probably.
Because I think it will continue to live stream there.
Yeah.
Yes, and you are most welcome. So, and again, thank you. We are going to go. Any final words,
Yeah,
Tom?
Because I laughed
Alia?
too hard and she woke up. Do the best you can. I want to say I've recently seen comments where people don't know where to start or how to start, and or they keep falling off or something like this. I think we need to give ourselves, people say grace, but I think we need to have faith in ourselves. Like, you can do this. Like, if you have a reason to do it, just do it and stick to it. Like, I've eaten a piece of cake one time in 7 months, made me feel terrible on my husband's birthday, so I stopped. But the point is, like, have faith in your ability and have faith in yourself and give yourself more credit. Don't just listen to the I can'ts that you tell yourself or other people have told you. Like, throw that out the window and you can totally do this. It's a lot easier once you get through whatever withdrawal period. It's the easiest way to eat. There's no way I would stick to this.
Once you get past the beginning, and even if you have failed in the past, because this is a great point, and I know that you had mentioned, Tom, that you kind of had got muddled around and doing keto, dirty keto. I lost 55 pounds, kind of stayed there for about a year, kind of muddled, and just totally came off the rails. I gained almost all that weight back. And it was really, really hard to get started again, but you can. So even if you do, so you go out and you have a whole pizza, okay, we'll fine. But if you just stay in that spot, that it's just a bad place to be. You do just have to you just have to say it is what it is, and you just pick up and you go on, right? Just the hardest thing is to get caught up in the keto treats and snacks and that kind of stuff, because it's just processed food that will derail you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So great point, Tom.
Yeah, I would say just carnivore seems to be easier for me than keto was as far as cheating. But also, if you do keto, you need to do a nice, clean, whole ingredient keto, not the keto foods and snacks and stuff like that. And you'll get to where, you just really just want beef. You don't want the other stuff, It's really interesting how the hunger is different and the hunger pains go away and the cravings go away.
Yeah, it is totally different. Yes, and by the way, Carnivore Stan, you are absolutely correct. Shameless plug on my failure video. You can go find it. Anybody who wants to see it, because that's absolutely the truth, and it's what I say. The only way that this works. There's some things I will try in life that I simply cannot accomplish. Some of them I've tried. Some of them I'm still trying. Some of them not so well. Some of them I've just failed at because I'm not able to do those things. But carnivore or keto is not one of them. Right? You absolutely can do it. It absolutely works. The only way you fail is to stop. Right. So don't give up. Right? Don't give up. Don't stop. All right. I think we're done.
She wants to say hello.
All right. Say hello.
Brianna, you want to say hello?
Hello.
All right, there we go. You got a hi. Hey, you got it in English. Y'all are lucky.
I know Ola. I know.
Hola, yeah, that
como
would work.
está y usted. That's all the Spanish I know.
We'll practice when I come visit you, and we'll go to King's Passing or whatever it's called. Do the roller coasters. All right.
All right. Thank you guys. Thanks for, if you're still here and there are people still watching, we greatly appreciate it. We really do. Check out these guys' channel. Don't forget Carrie. We're glad that she came. She pressed through her bad feelings and still joined us for well over an hour. So I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. We will absolutely do it sometime again. Alia, great to see you again and to be on. And Tom, really good to meet you. And we're glad that you're doing so well. And I look forward to some videos on your progress. And my wife had posted earlier, I pinned her comment that said that she'd be praying for you, and I will as well. So hopefully you have a rapid recovery. And we look forward to seeing some of your videos soon. And Alia, you better get that Halloween video up. It's the 19th.
I got work to do. I got to get a child back to sleep after 10. But I will get that video up on Halloween soon. I'll work on the thumbnail and get that video up.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Good night.
Bye.
But